welcome to the Next Step Podcast. It is exciting. We're in episode number 30. That's 30. I guess that looks right from here. And we're excited about being able to do that. And thankful for you that subscribe, and make sure to subscribe, like if you like the podcast, and share it, because really this podcast is all about people like Madison, who's with us. This is Madison Swihart. Did I pronounce that correctly? Yeah. She's married to Dallas. She'll tell us about her family in a little bit, but it's all about people taking their next steps in their journey with Jesus. And so we get today to learn about you and yours. So Madison, welcome.
Thank you.
Glad you're here today. So tell us about you. Where you from, and where'd you grow up, and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. So Dallas and I are both from Texas.
Okay.
It's called Willis, Texas.
Willis.
It's
Okay.
just a little north of Houston. Both grew up there, raised there, high school sweethearts. Graduated. We met like at baseball and softball.
Okay.
I'm sure you've seen him. He's 6'5".
So you were softball and he's baseball?
Yes.
Okay.
So I saw him down the athletic hallway, and he's 6'5", and I just see this like head bobbing down the hallway, and I tapped my friend. I was like, "What is his name?"
Good deal.
And she was like, "That's Dallas." And so I found him on Facebook, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to be my friend?" And we were like dating in a week.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so hit that off, obviously. Graduated. He figured out where he wanted to go. He started at a junior college. I was still trying to I didn't know what I wanted to do. All I ever wanted to do was be a husband or a wife and a mom. Mm-hmm. And so it was super hard trying to okay, well, I still need to make money, whatever.
Yeah.
And nailing down what it was. So I had a lot of random jobs.
Okay.
But he figured it out, and he got accepted to A&M on the nuclear engineer program. And then he got accepted. We got married. This is all within a year.
Wow.
And then moved to College Station.
Yeah.
Tried really hard to wait to have a baby, but we wanted a baby so bad. I would literally cry myself to sleep because I wanted a baby so bad.
Yeah. Wow.
So we were like, we'll figure it out. God will provide. We'll make money somehow. Mm-hmm. So we had Bristol a little over a year after we got married.
Okay. Was he a junior, between his junior and senior years?
Yes.
Something like that?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
Oh, I wasn't there. I'm just asking you.
He graduated in 2019, and she was born in 2017.
Okay.
So there you go. My jobs while he was in school, I provided while he was doing that.
Okay.
I was a realtor. I also worked at not a feed store, but it was a feed mill.
Right.
Where they made feed for cattle, horses, whatever. And I sold bags of feed, shipped them out, all that stuff. That was super fun. Right. I have a agriculture background.
Okay. So you came from a farm life kind of thing?
Yes.
Awesome.
I wouldn't call okay. Let's not call it farm.
Rural, but not farm life.
Not fancy like a farm, but I raised animals. I did cattle, pigs, chickens.
Well, that's kind of like a farm to me.
Yeah. It was little, but it worked. So that made me happy while we were there for a little bit. And then it was time for him to graduate, and we had no idea because there's not nuclear in Texas. We had no idea where we were going to go.
Wow.
So we just kind of waited for his applications to come back with a yes, come see. And it was, what was the month? March or May, that he came to Charlotte and did his interview at Duke. And that was the only interview that came back. It's the only one he got, which God knew because...
That made it easy.
Yeah, because I would not have moved this far away from family.
Oh, okay.
And so that made it, obviously he had a plan. He did that on purpose because I would not have come this far.
Yeah.
Got here 2019, and we started coming to the church 2 weeks later, and it was a hit from there.
Wow, that's amazing. And then I'm grateful that you survived 2020. You just started coming to church, and all of a sudden it's like everything shuts down, at least for a little while.
Yeah, we ran to Texas for 2020, before it got bad or whatever.
Oh, did you? Okay.
We took off. We were we're not going to be stuck here by ourselves.
Yeah, you get in there with the heat and bake all the COVID germs.
Yeah, there you go.
Get rid of them. Wow, that is so cool. So you did feed store stuff. You also, what was the other job you said you had?
I was a realtor.
You're a realtor. Okay, you've done that. And then you also did some other stuff too, like in high school. You said, did you raise pigs and sell them, or?
I did.
Did you really?
That was my
big ones or little ones or what?
All of them.
Okay.
I sold and raised heifers, and then so it was FFA and 4-H.
Yeah.
I haven't found that around here. Is that
Yeah. No,
Big around here?
Yeah, it's not as big around here as it is typical in rural communities. Like if you get up in Shelby or Rutherford County and stuff like that, where there's a lot more people spread out and a lot more farm and rural, there are more people that are involved in it there.
Okay.
4-H, I remember that.
But both of those, I did heifers and then pigs and chickens.
And that was just you or your family did that?
I did it for school. It wasn't like my whole, like my granddad had like land and stuff.
Okay.
But my mom and dad didn't so much. And then they ended up buying 3 acres.
Okay.
And so we did stuff on the 3 acres.
Wow. So how many cows do you think you had total over the years?
Like myself, I had like 5 because after I graduated, I told you I had like a lot of dreams and schemes.
Yeah, that's okay.
After I graduated high school, I was like, I'm going to have a like cattle business. And so I tried to buy like 4 heifers and I was going to breed them and all this stuff. And it didn't work out. But so then I sold all those.
But there's something inside of you that made you want to do that, which is dreams and schemes. I guess it depends on what the intent is. It a good thing or is it a bad thing? Anyway,
it was a good thing, of course, but it was a way to make money.
Yeah. There's something that you learn about living in a rural area and on a farm or raising animals. It just teaches you lessons about life that's different than people that grow up in the city solely and that kind of stuff, right?
For sure. Like the work ethic is a huge thing.
Right. Because they have to eat in the morning, even when you have to go to school, right? You got to milk them in the morning, right? Or if you're going to do that, I guess, I don't know if you did milk cows or whatever, but.
Yeah. They eat first. If it's midnight, 2 a.m., whatever, cold, you have to go outside, take care of them.
Right.
And they're a lot of money. So if you don't put in that effort, you're just throwing money down the drain.
Yeah.
So, yeah. They're a lot of work.
That's really cool though. So you were a softball player. What was your position? What'd you play?
First base.
Okay.
And then a little third, not a ton.
Okay.
And then I pitched when I was a kid.
Okay.
I wasn't good.
You didn't do the fast pitch stuff? You didn't do
okay. I did, but I wasn't good at that. Okay. I was really good at first base, but not.
You pitch them, I'll catch them. Yep. Right? That's cool. And then what did Dallas do in baseball?
He was a pitcher.
Okay.
All the way.
Tall pitcher. So what's your favorite baseball and softball teams? Are you professional teams or you follow or anything like that?
Don't judge me too
harshly. Because I know you got Texas,
Well, after we graduated, I don't know what happened to us. We were like sports. And then, I don't know, maybe because we played so much, we got burnt out. We haven't paid much attention to them.
So between high school and college, you kind of lost the interest.
Yeah.
It's like, let's get our major, let's work our school stuff, let's get our jobs.
Exactly.
Gotcha. That's interesting. Well, I think that's cool. I mean, there's a time when you're not going to be able to do that anymore, right? So was he good? Were you good?
I was decent. I wasn't like amazing or anything. Dallas was really good. He had like scouts looking at him and stuff, but he just didn't. I think Arizona Diamondbacks once looked really, really hard at him.
Yeah.
But he just didn't have that drive either. He wanted to do nuclear.
Right.
He was very burnt out also.
Understand. Yeah. So as a nuclear engineer, what are some of the things that he does? Do you have an idea what he does behind the scenes? Just does nuclear stuff.
The best way I can describe it is he makes the most cost efficient way for the fuel to turn on your lights.
That is so cool. Yeah. And thank you, Dallas, for doing that. As a matter of fact, Dallas is taking care of the babies this afternoon so that Madison can be here. So shout out to you and nuclear. And I just want to bow and just say thank you so much for doing all that. I think it's fascinating. You said there's no nuclear in Texas. So there's nothing like that, huh? So is there kind of like the gas industry forces that out, or
yes,
is that what it is?
It is. It is very much petroleum. Yeah. That's what my dad did. Also, he was in oil. He worked on like all the valves and stuff that go into the plants. Right. Yeah, it's very much, and they're on like their own electrical grid and all that stuff. There's like a plant, but it's like this big, and it's in the middle of Texas, and it just wasn't a job opportunity at all.
Right. So tell us the names of your children, because you said you really wanted to be a mommy, and that was really what was most important to you. So you're working to make all this kind of stuff happen. And so your children's names are Bristol and Blakely and Bonnie, right?
Correct. Yes.
And they're how old?
Bristol is 6.
Okay.
Blakely just turned 3.
Okay.
And then Bonnie will be 1 on the 12th.
Fantastic. December 12th.
Mhm.
That's awesome. So has mommy done been everything it was cracked up to be?
Yes.
Good deal.
It is a lot harder than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
But it's definitely the best thing.
We had good practice with cows and pigs, right?
Yeah.
Waking up at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. And I cuddled with them and stuff too.
Oh, did you really?
Yes.
I bet you did. That's funny. I have a friend of mine who he and his daughter actually raised rabbits. And there was a period of time, obviously they had to do away with the rabbits too. She would take them, she'd pet them and say goodbye to them, say a prayer for them. And then she'd say, whack them, Dad. Anyway, I thought that's really kind of out there.
Yeah.
But anyway.
That's how it goes. I love you. Wring your neck. You're done.
Shout out to you, Deborah Joe. Anyway, excited about that. So talk to us something about now you've come here and you got involved in life here and you've really gotten involved in the life of our church in lots of different kinds of ways. How has our church helped you to take your next step in your journey with Christ, your steps in your journey with Christ?
So I grew up in church my whole life. So I wouldn't say we bounced, but I was started Methodist and then we found non-denominational. And I got heavily into church when I was in middle school. I actually felt called to ministry when I was in middle school.
Wow.
And then it kind of tapered away.
Okay.
I mean, my relationship was still there, but it just kind of, that drive went away.
Yeah.
But when we got here, I had never, I don't know, I don't truly know how to explain it because being in church forever, when I got here, there was just such a pull, such a connection. Other churches, you could like feel the drama and all the stuff going on, the not wonderful things going on.
Right.
And I've never really felt that here. And don't get me wrong, we're full of humans. So there's going to be that kind of stuff that still goes on. Yeah. But I feel like it's managed so well here. And so that was very evident, like from the start. One of our first sermons was, what was it called? Friendship or something like that. And that's exactly like what we had been trying to say to people. Like, you can't be all this way. You can't be all that way. You've got to be like in the middle, a little bit of love, a little bit of truth. You can't have all or the other. And so that kind of sold us. We were like, okay, well, this is like the place for us.
Awesome.
And ever since then, just kind of dove right in, started going to groups.
What was the first group you were in?
Jenny Crosby's.
Okay.
I don't remember what it was called, actually. Purpose-driven life. No, there was a one for women right before that.
Right.
I did two with her. But it was something for women. I forgot.
Shout out to Jenny and your group out there. You made Madison feel at home. So I'm imagining you're kind of feeling like starved for connection because you're in this whole new part of the country and you don't know anybody other than the friends you have on Facebook, I guess.
For sure.
So
that was the biggest thing. Like forced us to get out of our comfort zone coming up here. And I had never thrown myself that far into a church. And so like being forced to do that made lots of friends, lots of connections.
That's cool.
Started with that group. And then I started leading like financial peace and mom groups.
Yep.
And then there was one Sunday, 3 years ago now, it was the first called.
Right.
And we had like the boards outside.
Yeah, where we basically do a campaign to get people to take the initiative, take a step and become volunteers in different ministries of our church.
Yep. And we like wrote our names on the walls or whatever out there. And somebody said there was a big need for guys in Collision. And I was like, okay, well, Dallas is an amazing guy. I'm going to put his name. And if he's doing it, I have to do it too. So I put his name down.
Okay.
Or both of our names down. And it was like, I don't know. We have been sold ever since.
That's awesome. For those of you that don't know, Collision is our student ministry. And the ministry is not a wreck. That's not what it means. It means where life and faith collide to come together. And we want to make sure to be practically available for students when they're at that time and era. So you jumped in there. Now tell me, I want you to go back a little bit, if you don't mind, and talk a little bit about the call you felt from God in middle school. Okay. How old were you and where did that happen? And what did that feel like? That kind of thing.
So I was in my youth group.
Okay.
We were having like a praise and worship session, and it was one of those like Justin calls them drop kick moments or whatever.
Yeah, drop kick moments, right.
And anyways, we're in like the praise and worship, and the pastor just stops. And I wish I could remember the exact words he said to me, but he just stops it. And he's like, something along the lines of there's someone in here that I feel like God is calling to do big things when they get older. And then he like looked at me and he was like, Madison, it's you. So it was like a really big moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
He called you out.
Yeah. In the middle of worship.
Wow.
It was really big. It stuck with me this long since like 5th, 6th grade.
Yeah. Have you told that to the students that you work with now? Kind of your call? Well, now they're going to hear it. They're going to say, hey, Madison's online. We got to watch her.
Yeah.
So they'll have heard this.
Yeah. I've told them I felt called to youth ministry, but I haven't really told them about
that call.
I don't think.
Yeah. I guess perhaps what you wrestle with from that time, 7th grade, 8th grade?
A little younger, like 5th, 6th, somewhere in there.
5th, 6th grade. Like, was that just that pastor's idea or is this really God's idea for me?
Yes, that too.
Right? So you kind of wrestle with that and had to make it your own.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So now you've dove in with students. You've led small groups. You also, if I remember correctly, a lot of the times you provide childcare for small groups and childcare for staff meetings and that kind of stuff. So you like being a mommy, even when you're not a mommy to your own kids. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us about some of the things that have happened with you in Dallas as you've been part of student ministry.
Well, it has completely changed like both of our lives.
Awesome. Completely changed. This is a big word.
Completely changed. It is. Well, okay. And I will say it started a little bit before that too. We have never had this many friends in our lives, and being a part of all the small groups we've been a part of, has blessed us in extreme ways. And so like, we've never felt so much love and connection and just like-minded good people. So that has part to do with it too.
Sure. But
the student ministry part itself, I don't know. I guess you just don't know what you don't know till you're in it. And once we dove into it, oh my gosh, my girls are like my girls.
Yeah. So they become like your family.
Mm-hmm.
Are you middle school or high school?
I am middle school.
Okay.
I started with them when they were in 6th and now they're in 8th and it's my last year with them.
Wow. That's cool.
Yep.
So you followed them 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. You've been in a relationship with them for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're moving to high school theoretically and that kind of stuff. You're not going to go with them. You're going to stay in middle school.
No, the idea is to, give them lots of adults in their lives.
Right.
So
you've been a consistent force for 3 years now.
Yes. Right. And so like, I forgot the exact statistics from Orange, but, the more you can give them by the time they're in like leave high school, graduate, the dropout rate after that time when they get into college, like it drops significantly.
Absolutely.
So the more you can give them, the better. And so give them a real good relationship for 3 years and then give them another relationship with more leaders for 3-4 more years.
So the more relationships with students at pivotal times in their lives where they're making friendships makes their faith last, essentially. Correct. Is what statistics tell us.
Yes.
So orange, for those people that are not familiar with, orange is a color, right? But the goal of orange is kind of a curriculum and a thought idea of where the passion of the church, represented by yellow, is married with red rather. Yes. Passion of the church is red, is married with yellow, symbolizing the family. It makes orange, right?
Right.
So it's a way where faith and relationships become real. So I just can't thank you enough for what you've done there. How about Dallas? What does he do?
He's with the, well, actually he's kind of moved around, unintentionally with growth. And so like they need leaders to move here and there. So he's been with 6th and 7th, and I think he's back to 8th right now. With the 6th graders they're now 8th, but they were 6 2 years ago. So he's back with them.
Yeah.
There's been so much growth. Sometimes you got to pivot and move people around. So
that's cool.
It's changed.
So one of the things that I noticed, I think it's interesting about you, is that there is an attitude of flexibility and kind of use me where I need to be used and that kind of stuff.
For sure.
I mean, is Dallas like that too?
Yeah, very much. He's a very chill person. He isn't the introvert. I'm very much the extrovert.
Okay.
But that's definitely still his demeanor. Yeah.
I think talking about introversion and extroversion, I'm extroverted too, right?
Yeah.
We like to talk. We can talk here for hours, right?
For sure.
But unfortunately, I think in terms of psychology, people that are introverts, they kind of get a bad rap because it kind of gives the idea that they're backward. And it doesn't mean that at all. Essentially, those people that originally studied introversion, extroversion, and ambiversion, for those people in the middle, is that you get your energy alone. An introvert gets their energy alone, and whereas an extrovert gets their energy being around people.
Yes.
Right. And it doesn't mean that an introvert is less than by any means. Right. I think my youngest daughter read a book about introversion 2, 3, 4 years ago. It was a big kind of be powerful in your introversion kind of book. Okay. And so maybe that's good for Dallas. But
maybe, yeah.
We're grateful that he's working there. So tell us about your children. What are their personalities like?
Oh, goodness. Bristol is like typical firstborn.
Okay. So Bristol's a pistol.
Mm-hmm. They're all three very much pistols.
Okay.
She's like the leader. She's so sassy. She's very girly, which is hard for me because I was never
your thing.
Never my thing. So it's hard to like relate with her sometimes with that stuff. I'm trying, but sometimes I'm just like, it's okay. You don't have to be so dramatic. Blakely is also the typical middle child. No matter how hard we try, somehow she just still ends up being
in the middle.
Yeah,
I'm a misunderstood middle child myself.
Yeah. Like I keep that at the forefront of my mind to try and not make that kind of stuff happen. And it just does.
It just does. Yeah. It's kind of like the oldest wants to go to McDonald's, the other one wants to go Hardee's, and we're kind of like, let's go drive in between them and you get what you want, you get what you want, right? We'll negotiate the deal.
And she's very much,
negotiated.
Yes. Like she keeps this one happy and keeps the baby happy and like just such a huge heart.
Yeah.
She's just the best.
That's
and
cool.
Then Bonnie, she's only a year old and she's already just getting it.
Large and in charge.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my goodness. She just wrestles. Like she's just crazy. It's fun. She's definitely the last born for sure.
Okay. So she's the grand finale.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, yes. I got that. That's cool.
Yes.
Well, I've heard so many good things about you and your family, not just from you personally, but more importantly from other people around you, that they are really affirming of your servant's heart and you're willing to do the kind of things that are willing to make people take their next steps. And I just can't thank you enough for the way that you've done so.
Cool.
So you've got this calling in your life now. And I think from what I understand, you've actually shared even more of that with Justin and Bethany and your leaders. Kind of what's God leading you to do, you think, next?
Justin asked me that a few times and I honestly can't answer because I know that, I know this is where he's calling me to. But I also know it's not my season for that big, huge step yet.
Mm-hmm. I'm your preparation time.
Exactly. This is my like learning season, doing everything I can season. So I don't know exactly what the next big step is going to be, but I'm ready for it. I'm waiting for it. And whatever it is, I'll gladly go. But I don't know. I have no idea. I know it's student ministry. In some way, shape, or another, but whatever it is, I don't know, I'll go willingly.
And I think that's what's really cool is that we have this perspective of being on the journey with Christ. And it's part of our language and life of the church that God's taking us somewhere every day and every day is a step. And it doesn't have to be this huge, giant leap. I mean, I think that everybody, even the people that you think of as the most mature Christians, need to take a step today. To love Jesus more, become like Jesus more, share Jesus with others, or maybe not more, but just differently. So I appreciate your heart of flexibility and being open to that. Are there things that you have read scripturally or as you have sought to learn about helping people that are students in your life, scripture verses or meaningful stories to you from the Bible or maybe just meaningful stories with students that you'd like to share with us?
So one of my favorites that I like to share with their moms and with them, of course, is the blessing in Numbers. I always like to send that to them at Christmas time when I don't see them for a while.
May the Lord bless you and keep you.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome.
Or if they're ever having a rough time, stuff like that. As far as stories, I mean, I tell them everything. Very open with them at that age level, of course. There's certain things.
Age-appropriate level, right, sure.
That they didn't need to know in 6th grade, but now I can talk to them about it in 8th grade. So super open, talk to them about anything and everything that I've gone through or whatever.
And, I would imagine that for 6th and 7th and 8th grade girls, it's such an impressionable time to have somebody like you that's going to be real and honest and open and say, I went through that too, but I went through that.
Mhm.
I didn't get stuck in that or anything like that.
Yeah. And they know when you're being real or not. They
Yeah.
can sense it like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just very important people take that age for granted, honestly. You know, you hear people say, oh, I could never work with teenagers and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I'm like, why? You know, like adults are just as bad, if not worse, possibly. They're so moldable and lovable, and this generation, like in particular, is so hungry and thirsty for the truth. And being able to give that to them and getting them in the right direction it fills my cup so much.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you a couple questions, because I think if you're an expert now, because you're working with middle school girls all the time, every week, you got a whole different expertise than I have. Even though I've taken a couple of girls and a son through middle school before too. Is this, so one of the things that Stuart Hall, who came to our church back in September and spoke to us about how things were changing among students. One of the things he said is that puberty is no longer 13 and 14 years old. It's more like 9, 10, and 11. And so he told us the research says that. Does your experience bear that out, that girls are going through puberty sooner? Would you say?
I would say that. Yeah, I would agree. My girls probably around right at 7th grade. So that's like 11, 12.
Right.
But I also know other girls that were like 9, 10.
Right.
So I would
And it's
agree.
more than just a physical stage. It's an emotional stage. It's a attachment kind of stage. I mean, everybody's got cell phones and images and shows they watch and stream, and they get the idea that it's supposed to be like it does on that show I watch on YouTube or that thing that I watch on TikTok. Right.
For sure. They have so much extra stuff thrown at them. And like, I'm in a weird age at 28 where I was like a little while without technology, not too long, but like I didn't get Facebook and all that stuff until like high school.
Okay.
And so I have a little bit of both worlds. I can kind of step in one and step in the other. And so like, even just, let's see, they're 13 and I'm 28, whatever that math is. Dallas is the math.
15,
I'm not the math.
15 years.
So in that, the change is just insane. The amount of stuff that they had thrown to them. Thankfully now there's like more parent controls and stuff on the phones. But the stuff they're exposed to, like I had one student that she already knew about like, I hope this doesn't give away who it is. She already knew about like witches and stuff like that. And like that would have never been on my radar because it wasn't, out there yet.
Right.
So prevalently anyways.
And they have the world at their fingertips, literally. Right.
And so whatever they can look at, they'll find it, or a friend will tell them about it.
Right.
Even if this parent has a ton of controls on their phone, their friends next door isn't going to have the same controls and they're gonna see it. And one of the best things I love that Stuart Hall said actually was, I forgot this statistic too, but they're going to believe whoever says something first. So like if you're a parent and like you're afraid to talk about XYZ subject, in this world now, it's probably best to talk about XYZ subject probably before you want to, because they're going to hear it from their friend. And if they hear it from their friend first, that's who they're going to believe first.
Absolutely. So, interesting.
Good Stuart Hall. I loved him. He's at Orange. I've gone the past 2 years. It is so, oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Right.
So
one of the things that our church does is regularly take our kids ministry and our student ministry disciples, I was going to call you, and I should call you that, disciples and volunteers to a training conference each year so that they can best be equipped to help take care of students in that regard. So as you look at students and the way they act and what they think about, do you ever hear them say, in terms of the word truth, well, that's your truth, but it's not my truth? Do you ever hear them saying that kind of stuff to each other?
Yeah, there's stuff I hear them say sometimes and I cringe and I'm like, oh no, that's not. Like one of the biggest things to me is they'll say, don't judge me. And I'm like, there's a big difference in like judgment and conviction. Like we're called to like call you out when you're doing stuff that you're not supposed to be doing. So don't let that conviction be like clouded by thinking you're being judged. So that's one of the biggest ones that like, whoo. gets me. But yeah, there's stuff they say sometimes. I'm like, oh, that is such a 2023 thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I'm wondering, you came in 19, you said 2019?
In June.
And so then we went through 2020, then you came back and you were working with kids. Would you work before 2020 and then after COVID too?
No, this is my 3rd year.
Okay. So you kind of started in the fall after COVID, kind of opening back up and everything. So I wonder if you've noticed changes in students from pre-COVID to post-COVID world. Did you notice the anxiety struggles that they were having that were heightened because they couldn't spend time with friends? Did you see any of the kind of the after effects of
I didn't
COVID?
get to know them like personally before COVID, but I've definitely heard many stories, so many stories of all of them through those COVID years struggled so much with just anxiety and loneliness and depression. So I didn't get to like see it firsthand of a difference from A to B, but I see like and hear stories here in B. And it was some rough stuff.
Right.
But there was a huge testimony. I don't even know when it was. I think it was last school year semester, of a student. And she had a huge testimony about going through those things. And then afterwards there was like 20, 30 baptisms, something crazy.
Yeah.
So that's what hers was about. Yeah.
That's cool. And that was a great catalytic moment for, and a lot of people followed through in baptism because they felt that conviction themselves and they wanted to follow through on that. So if you had an opportunity to talk to the middle school parents, and you do have that opportunity right now, to talk to those middle school parents about what you think from what your experience has been with those girls, what do they need from them? What would you say to them?
What do they need from their parents? I would say the pendulum. They do need all the love that you give them, and they need your attention and all those things, but don't forget the truth. Don't affirm them in their 2023 ways of thinking. You can still love them and tell them no. And one of the best things Justin ever told me was, it was like my very first meeting or something. It said it was, this generation is used to a lot of bark with no bite behind it. And that is so true. I've seen over the years. You can tell them something and they will just look at you like, what do you mean?
Or is that real?
Yeah. And so I would say, don't forget the little bark that you have to give, or the bite behind the bark. Follow through with those consequences. It's not fun in the meantime, but when they're older, I mean, they're going to thank you for it when they're older.
Right. Well, I tell you, I wish that I had a middle schooler that was in your group. I actually do have a granddaughter that will be moving up next year in the 6th grade. So maybe she'll be lucky enough to get you to take care of her too. Her name is Ella, and she's our oldest grandchild. Hey, out there, Ella, if you're hearing this, you're probably not, because you probably would not have made it this far, but good to see you as far as that's concerned. So as you consider your next steps, what's God called you to do next? You know that ultimately one day you might like to be in student ministry in a full-time capacity professionally. What do you sense that God is having you to think about doing next? Is it to stay the course with what you're doing, or are you wanting to take a step that will lead to a greater step in the future?
So something we rolled out this year is called Coaches. And so basically I'm a coach to the other small group leaders, the females.
You're a leader of the leaders.
Yes. And that's been amazing. And oddly enough, as much as I love like being with the students, I would never want to stop that. But I know in my mind that if I can help and get all these adults to buy in, I'm going to end up helping more students in that way. So it stinks I won't get as much time with the students themselves, but if I can get them to just like experience some stuff from Orange and just really buy in, I can make a difference on like the whole youth ministry and not just my little portion of it. So I really love the coaching thing. But what I'll also be doing is the student leadership team. I run that with Abigail and Luke. And that's just like, we give them another thing from Orange. was don't underestimate them. They can do much more than you can think. So we've gone through and we've given them lots of jobs. They can do the welcome. They can work on production stuff. So having them buy into that. But I think my greatest thing, my next biggest step is being a leader of the leaders, like you said, and really just trying to pour into them and have relationships with them.
Right. So you've got a baseline of leaders here, then you're a coach, but you're also part of a kind of a directional team to help to direct all the rest of the coaches too, to help them work with students. So I think we have 20 different groups. How many groups do we have for students, boys and girls?
There's 40 something leaders.
Yep.
I think 45 or something like that. And there's obviously a boy and a girl group from each grade.
Right.
But then there's also some, 8th grade has 5 groups, different
because there's
groups.
so many more 8th graders.
Yes.
Yep.
And so I forgot how many.
Well, it makes sense. You got 45 leaders that you probably have 20 to 22 groups. That's cool. And so in student ministry is continue to grow, and there's just lots of fruit in there, not only in terms of people that are going public with their faith, but those that are attending regularly, somewhere between 100 and 130 students each week, right?
Yeah. So I think on our roster is 160 or something. I could be totally wrong, but I think I've heard that number.
The number come at least once.
Yes, exactly. Right. So that's who we have contact with. But yeah, in terms of every week is right at 100 something.
So one of the things I'm grateful for to our congregation is that we're able to minister to these students in ways that are unique, because some of them come from churches that don't have student ministries, or they'll have friends that are not in church at all. But I just really appreciate not only the inside baseball that goes along with student ministry and the people that go to our church, but also students that are from outside of our church and their friends. So there's a really big event coming up. By the time we publish this, it will already be over. But what's happening this Saturday?
Ooh, the Christmas party.
Cool. Tell us about that. And where's that going to be? And what's it like?
Oh, I forgot the name of the mill.
Catawba Mill.
There we go.
It's the Catawba Mill. I remember you told me that.
So it's at that mill, and we deck it out. It's a combination of prom and I don't know, Christmas something, but the girls go out all out. They dress up. I've seen all of them look at my dress, look at my dress. Yeah. The guys dress up too. Hit or miss with that sometimes though. Sometimes they've got on sweats. Sometimes they've got on a 3-piece suit or something. Yeah. But they take it so seriously, which is amazing because it's so much fun. Yep. The leaders serve the students. So it's kind of a role reversal thing where they're in charge of us, of our table, whatever. Yeah. And you just host your table, and it's so much fun. There's prizes and games and all the things. It's great. It's
all the stuff that goes along with fun, with hopefully a little bit less drama, right?
Correct. Yes. Yeah. It's just all fun. And then the rule is to the price is $30, but you get another ticket with that. So the rule is you have to bring somebody that doesn't already go to Collision. Right. So it's always a really big event. And we usually get a bunch of kids that continue coming afterwards because of it.
Right. I have to really give a shout out to just your team and the whole church, because even the people that serve are people that are other parts of our church, and they take the initiative to prepare the food across the street in a professional kitchen and bringing it over. It's just a really powerful thing. Yeah. And also everybody gets the gospel, the good news of Jesus presented during that time, which is the ultimate core of what we're doing and why we're doing it. But I think you're an illustration of, man, you can have fun and be a Christian. Right. And you can be an adult that is your leader who also can be fun, but also straight up with you at the same time too. Right.
Yep. For sure.
That's cool. All right. So if you're a Texas girl who's been to North Carolina, I want to ask you some more geography questions. Okay. Are you more of a country girl at heart, or are you city girl?
Ooh, definitely not city.
Okay.
Never ever. I hate going into Charlotte. I will not go into Charlotte. Yeah. It's not my thing. Yeah. Definitely more of a slow, rural, not, talking to your neighbors and stuff like that.
So when you go on vacation, when you're growing up in Texas, where'd you go on vacation?
We actually didn't
do much of that.
Really go on vacation.
Yep. Because you got to take care of the cows and the chickens and the pigs and all that kind of stuff.
My dad was in the Navy. Okay. And so he had one-liners of I spent my whole life in line. I'm not doing it again. Just random stuff like that. I've already been everywhere. Stuff like that. So we really didn't go too many places. I mean, we went places around Texas, and he had family in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But other than that,
So when you go to the beach in Texas, do you go like Galveston?
oh, it's disgusting. Yes, it's gross.
Okay, all right.
It's
Anyway,
brown as this table.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yes.
I love
It's
it.
nasty.
That's hilarious. Do you have any mountains in Texas? Oklahoma?
I
Big
think
hills?
there's like Big Bend, not Big Bend. What is it? There's something the like bottom left of Texas. I forgot what it's called.
Next to New Mexico. And all that stuff.
Yeah. So there's some of that.
Okay.
Oh, that was like a revelation moving here. The mountains.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, those are so amazing.
Cool.
Like we go as much as we possibly can, just like pack a lunch, really only have to pay for gas, you know, that kind of thing. And it's just so peaceful. And
you're only about an hour and a half away. That's right.
Yeah.
So for you, if you're going to have the choice between the mountains or the beach or the desert or an island, you want to go to the mountains.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
I don't like the beach.
You have a favorite place in the mountains?
We go a lot to Grandfather Mountain, just because, you know, the girls have a lot to do there.
Yeah.
But when they get a little older, I hope to we do little hikes here and there, but I hope to do like some legit hiking with them and camping and stuff like that.
Okay. Favorite Christmas movie? Is it Christmas Vacation? Is it Christmas Story? Is it It's a Wonderful Life? Or is it something else? You have a favorite Christmas movie that you always watch every year?
I like the kid Christmas movies. Okay. So, and I like to watch it with them, and they're like every day they're like, "Can we watch a Christmas movie in Coco?"
Yeah.
But I like
Home Alone.
I don't. Oh my gosh! I tried to show that to them the other day. Bristol loves it, but there's so much not for a 6-year-old.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. So, I forgot about that part.
Yes. But my favorite is don't judge me. The Muppets Christmas Carol.
Okay. No judgment. Why?
And then there's Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas, something like that. So I love like the little kid Christmas music.
Little kid Christmas music.
And the Grinch. Oh, the Grinch. We have to put that on while we put the tree up.
Yeah.
The Jim Carrey one, not the.
Oh, yeah. I understand. Do you have a favorite Christmas song? No.
No, I'm not good with favorites questions.
Okay,
I don't know
I'm
why.
sorry. And my wife is like that too. Don't ask me the best thing. Just tell me some ones I like.
I don't. Yeah, I can't ever say my favorite is this.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like to listen to all of them. We
so
really do.
Are you an SUV mom or a car mom?
Ooh, SUV.
Okay, SUV mom.
I can't handle a car.
So you might be like rural, but there's a little bit of suburban, right? Yeah. To you. You're kind of in the middle between the
I would drive a truck if I could afford it.
Oh, okay. Would you? Okay.
But right now I drive an Expedition.
Okay. Are you Verizon or AT&T?
AT&T. I don't have enough money for Verizon.
Okay, I got that. That's interesting. Oh boy. Would you rather fly or would you rather drive if you go somewhere?
Depends.
Okay. Have you driven back to Texas?
Oh yeah.
How long is that for you to get here at home?
With children, it's depending on nursing baby, not nursing. We have gone anywhere from Dallas has done it by himself straight 16 hours. Wow. Well, we've also made it 22 hours. Wow. So it just depends on the circumstance of that trip.
That is wild.
But the legit drive time is 16 hours if you don't ever stop.
Right. So you grew up with baseball and softball. Do you have a favorite sport that you pay any attention to these days?
Pay attention to?
No.
But my favorite thing like that I ever did was swim.
Okay.
I was a swimmer. And I will say I wasn't a great softball player, but I was a really good swimmer.
Awesome.
I went to like nationals and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
But what was your
favorite strokes?
Butterfly.
Okay.
Yeah. Everybody loves freestyle. So there's like an insane amount of competition in freestyle.
Sure.
But butterfly, not a lot of people can do those. You have to be like built a certain way for it. And so I was very good at butterfly.
That's awesome. That's a big deal. Butterfly is the most beautiful stroke to me too. I really like that. All right. So are you a steak or chicken or fish person?
I'll take a steak first.
Steak first. Okay. T-bone, ribeye.
Tenderloin.
Tenderloin. Okay. All right. So you got to ask these Texas girls these questions because they'll tell you exactly where the best part of the heifers that she used to raise. Yeah. Was that hard for you knowing that you're raising these to go, ultimately be food for us? No. Okay. All right.
I could never do it. I was never able to do it myself.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't do the actual, but I didn't ever have a problem with it. I mean, that's the way it's designed to be. It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But also, I will say I raised mostly heifers. And so, like, they don't ever really get slaughtered. They go have babies.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's true.
So I got to, like, meet the babies afterwards.
Yeah.
And it was a little more happy ending for them.
That's cool. Okay. I'll try to contextualize this according to your life. Would you rather go to Dallas or would you rather go to New Orleans? Neither one. I can see it in your face. Like, neither one of them.
I don't like Louisiana.
Okay.
So
okay.
I'll say Dallas.
Okay, good deal. I grew up in New Orleans, but Dallas is a cool place. It really is.
Yeah.
All right. So would you rather go to New York or Los Angeles?
I have been to New York
Okay.
in high school on
Neither one.
a band trip, but yeah, I would rather not go
Okay.
to either one.
So if you could pick a place to go to that you've never maybe been before, what intrigues you? Alaska. Okay. All right. So you got the rural thing there. You got kind of the pioneer kind of feeling.
Yes.
That's cool. All right. So Dallas, for her Christmas present, all she wants is an Alaskan cruise.
Yes.
Right? Or something like that. Anyway.
For sure.
Well, so as we prepare to draw our time for close today, I want to thank you so much for being with us. Is there anything that you would want to say to people out there about walk with Christ, working with kids, or just anything you'd like to say before we say goodbye?
I don't know, maybe thanks for all the friendship. Like, we've never had this much connection, all the small groups we've been to. I've never had this many friends in my life, and I love all of y'all. And I guess that's about it.
Well, we love you guys too. Let me pray for you before we go. Lord, thank you for Madison and for Dallas and for Bristol and Blakely, excuse me, and for Bonnie. And just ask God you would bless all of them as a family. Thank you for making them a blessing to us. And I pray, God, that you would give them a great season as we celebrate the birth of Jesus. And just thank you for people that are like Madison. They're giving their life to you and giving their life to our kids too, so that they'll have relationships with people that grow up that will tell them the truth in love, but also love them in the truth. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to have you with us. So next time we're going to be here for the Next Step podcast, and we want to wish you guys in advance a Merry Christmas, because by the time this is published, it's going to be December, and hope you guys have a great time at the Christmas party Saturday night.